This is how it all started.
All right. Okay. All right, welcome y'all. This is the WiseDome podcast with your host Pedro Garcia.
And I'm Isaias.
Isaias Nunez, y'all heard it. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about a thing called the quarter-life crisis, aka the mid-life crisis. And we just want to get a little deep. We want to go a little deep about, what's like some of the insights that we've been gaining from our own experiences. As you guys may or may not know, Isaias and I are both 25 years of age. So yeah, menopause is coming right around the corner real soon. And we just wanted to, just talk a little bit about our experiences with it. What have we been learning all throughout the way? And, how we could use that as a means of teaching you guys on how to, encounter your own crisis. So, I guess to start things off, bro, what's been your experience with it?
Well, so far it's been a pretty painful experience, I'll be honest.
Okay.
The way I experienced it, I went to school for college. I went to college for psych to become a therapist, because it's like, out of all the things I can imagine being professionally, that's the closest thing I could say that I can see myself doing. Mm-hmm. So I've done that. I finished my bachelor's. I've been working in the field for about 3 or 4 years.
That's right, yeah.
Oh no, it's happening again.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's part of the symptoms of the quarter-life crisis. You feel old for things that happened years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But right now I'm at a point where it's like, I'm in that weird place where I've technically taken my first step into adulthood, but now it's like, now that I've gotten a taste of earning money, of having a stable job, of pondering about my future, move out or not move out, family or no family, that kind of thing. You kind of this is the real test of guidance, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like right now, I gotta decide to go either get my master's and fully commit to the profession, or seek something else, because currently right now I'm not really feeling confident that I want to be in this field for my career. Yeah, and the doubt really plays a big part of it too.
The doubt?
The doubt is the heaviest component of a quarter.
I'm sure so many people can relate to that,
Plenty of people can, probably.
Oh man, damn, it sounds like it's rough for you, bro.
What about you, man?
No, man, for me, bro, it's been quite the journey. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like this year, on my 25th year on this planet, I made it a mission to really do things I've always wanted to do. So that included a big trip to Spain. I went to Madrid for the first time. If any of you guys have never gone to Spain, go ASAP. It's amazing. You won't regret it. And after that, bro, that Spain trip was in and of itself a grand old adventure. I ended up partying till 6 o'clock in the morning, which is a thing out there, which is crazy. And I ended up catching COVID.
Spanish COVID.
On my last day. Yeah, bro. Yes. I ended up catching it, and I ended up not being able. They wouldn't let me fly back, so I had to stay in a pair of hotels for 5 extra days. And after that, I've gone kayaking, I've gone hiking. I've gone hiking 3 times already this year.
That's a lot of walking.
Shit ton of it. Yeah, bro, I just been meeting a lot of people, been learning new skills. I've been learning Portuguese as well. So I think all of that honestly came from this sort of insecurity of, what am I doing? It came from introspective, this introspection of, is my life really what I want it to be? What is it I've always wanted to do? Why haven't I done it yet? So this year has kind of been like a thing of, I guess, getting out of the routine, which I think plays a big role of it, and just going out there to the world and doing whatever it is that you always wanted to do.
Yeah. How would you? What would you say? Well, how would you define the parameters of a quarter-life crisis? What are the signs? What are the symptoms?
You start looking around at your friends, and you start to feel either insecure about your position in life, there's also a lot of confusion. You really don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life.
Sure.
There may be some envy, if we're being honest. And I think those three. Yeah, definitely those three. I've definitely been feeling it. You know, you start to look around at your friends, and like some of them are in careers that are making a lot more money than yours, and you're like, man, maybe I should jump into that one. Some of them are already starting families. And you're like, you know what, maybe I should get a girl knocked up. Or some of them are already owning their homes, and they're just living with their with their significant other, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, fuck it, man, like, I'm still living at home with mom.
Yo, but this is one of those situations where it's like, it's not just one thing, it's a million things, because like, as shit as it feels to like know that like your friends are like, you know, having houses and even starting families, and like you think to yourself, man, I wish I could get a home and start a family. And then you look at the economy around you and the housing market's like literally ridiculous, and you're just kind of like, I'm gonna live with my parents till I'm 30, aren't I?
Yeah. Sadly.
But the you know, I would definitely say like that's like a heavy symptom of like the quarter life crisis, that heavy comparison you have with like people around you. Not even, and like again, maybe this is just like a symptom of modern times, but I think this is like worse than it was for other generations in the sense of like social media. Imagine comparing yourself to your friends around you in your like town or neighborhood that you grew up in and when you're staying there, where it's kind of like your sense of like what you can do in that age is kind of like limited to like, oh, Johnny here, he became a mechanic, you know, started his own shop. Wow, that guy is like, you know, guys like together. But you're not. But when you have social media, you're like 25-year-old billionaire.
Yeah.
This guy is 26 and cured this illness, and it's like up and coming star and stuff.
Right.
You see people that are of our age and they're just spliced everywhere on social media, and you just feel like, if there's anyone around me, then what am I doing wrong?
Right. Yeah. It sucks. It's like being a teenager all over again.
Oh, that's high school over again.
It's like high school over again. But this time you're comparing yourself to now. Back then it used to just be about, you know, what clothes were your friends wearing, or you know, where were they in the pecking order in high school? You know, how many girls were you getting with? Now it's like families are now involved, careers are now involved, you know, money is now involved. And it's like, in a real sense, it's like nothing. I'm not saying nothing is worse than being a teenager, but man, being a young adult is hard too. You know.
You know what it is too? It's I think like a second symptom of like the quarter life crisis is identity crisis. With every mid-quarter, whatever life crisis, there's always a crisis of identity. Yeah, you can say. I think definitely like and this age especially, because like in your mind you still see yourself and reflect on yourself as if you're still a teenager. Or I don't know if like that everybody, but that's me. Like I personally feel like mentally I'm like factually I know I'm 25, but mentally I'm like still see myself as the same kid. I kind of like, you know, posted by like a high school and went through college, and my self-image of my, like, you know, my mental self-image of who I am has not moved beyond like 20. Where like you're just,
I totally relate. I totally relate to that.
And then you're kind of in a situation where it's like you're having like you're having identity crises that thought you already got over when you were a teenager, but now again you're involved in like adult situations with all the problems. Now you got, you know, like careers to start, families, and all that stuff. With what we are now, like we're technically in a sense still teenagers in a way, because like we're adults in terms of capacity and age, but we haven't really achieved anything yet.
Yeah.
So like anything, and by achieve I mean like we all got that like a benchmark in our minds about like, you know, where do you start off as an adult? Where you are an adult when you pay taxes, when you own a car, when you have a home. Like you have our own like little benchmarks about like, you know, what it is to like, you know, count as an adult. And we always think we're going to reach those goals and just feel like, you know, completely fulfilled as a actualized person. We're adults now. We can we're the controllers of our fate. You know?
Yeah.
Which in a sense it's true. We still are, but we just have we can't really read the winds as good as we should, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Using the boat metaphor, reading the winds.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, I'm so shocked that when people are now calling me sir. They're referring to me as sir now, or mister. And to me, that's like, what? Up to this point, I was just like Pedro. Mm-hmm. Or, my middle name is Joel, at least I'm just from Joel. Or I was always like the young buck coming up, and now it's like, you're sort of expected to know certain life skills at this point. You're sort of expected to be in a certain position. And it's like, things are just accelerating.
Acceleration is a good one too. Acceleration probably the third symptom of it. That pending symptom of acceleration, where like your choices now have less and less and less time for you to ponder them. Because in a way it does, but mentally you're kind of like, which like this is like one of the things about the human condition is a lot of paradoxes are involved in just existing. Mm-hmm. Because you're in your mind are like I have that very limited time to decide where the rest of my life goes. Because if I lose this window, I'm going to be a loser forever. But then there's also the fact that you literally have the entirety of your life to live, and you don't know who the hell you are at 25. Mm-hmm. At 40, you kind of know. At 40, it generally is believed that where you're set, you're who you are. You're finished developing. You're kind of now you beat the main game, not time for the side quests in terms of like character development. But at 25, you're kind of like, okay, I gotta jump in now. I got to do the plunge. I got to jump off that plane that is into going to the uncertainty of the future, picking the path that I will never know is the right path or not. Mm-hmm. That's the acceleration kind of kicks in.
It's fucking crazy, man. This is too much, man. I don't know. I don't know if you guys could relate, but it almost as though it feels like you've kind of wasted your life. Like you realize like some of the dumb mistakes you've been making.
Game over immediately. You got game haven't even started.
So going back to the thing we said about the 40-year-old, like I remember Jordan Peterson saying that if 40 is like the benchmark year for everyone, where they really begin to realize like whether they're on the good path or the bad path. That's the age where you'll start to realize that you'll start to see people have some regrets about some of the decisions that they've made. But then he said that Jordan Peterson is famous for the idea of comparing yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. And he's mentioned in his own experience how, he's met people who were in their 40s, especially men, who weren't successful. And he was mentioning how, like, he will give them this thing where he'll make them review their lives, and then within 2 years, obviously through following his principle, he would do what's called like small incremental improvements, which there's actually a Japanese word called kaizen, where essentially the idea is like if you just focus on 1% improvements every single day, the effects of that are not linear. It will be exponential improvements in your life. Do you ever think that like I know that like at 25 there's so much more room, but it feels like there's not that much room. But like, have you ever met anyone who's like really made some drastic life changes in their lives ever?
I've met like one person I would say that I've known I knew that as a kid. That currently he has a home of his own, a salon. He has a kid. He's got a job that he's like currently making good money in, that good. I'm gonna be middle class now money. That kind of money. Mm-hmm. And I just look at him, and it's kind of like I haven't seen him in a decade, so I don't I don't know the chain of events that led up to this for him. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of like, wow, you really made it. Like you didn't just like you're not like where I am, like where I'm floundering to figure out who I am. You're like you got a truck, you got a kid, you got a house, you got a dog. Shit, bro, you got the American dream right there.
Yeah. All right. Shit. And how old is he?
I think he's actually like 29.
29.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. Wow. Yeah, man. So Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy, man.
You know something too that like again I say this like as like relating to like the current like world we live in technologically wise. There's like a how do you put it? We kind of like live in this world where like we want everything to be like answered immediately through Google.
Mm-hmm.
All of our answers, all of our questions can be just found through Google.
Mm-hmm.
And like that uncertainty that we have, like not knowing about something, can like really like fuck us up in terms of paralysis, like decision paralysis. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you have two choices or you have many choices, awesome, many choices, and just because you have the magnitude of your potential choices you can make, it just paralyzes you from making a choice because you don't make the wrong one, and like you think of the odds of making a wrong one. There's only one good path, but you don't know there's only one good path. And most paths you can go down are either neutral good, neutral bad, and very few are very good and very bad. Like that's just the distribution. That's just like that's just a standard distribution of shit.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you go into, whether you just regret it in 5 years or not, in terms of like you switch back and go somewhere else, you at least did something with your time. The worst thing you can do is what we are doing, where we're just kind of like deliberating on it and just mulling over it, and like because we don't know what to do, we don't move, and because we don't move, we can't think. It's kind of like let's say you're walking through a forest, right? You're walking through the woods. You've got your eyes. You're walking through the woods. How do you walk through the woods to get to the other side of the trail? And let's say you don't know how to get to the other side of the trail, right? Do you literally stick your feet on the ground, look around at all the trees around you, not know what the next path of trees is going to look like, and just stay there because you can't really you can't calculate like how this path is going to go down because you're not moving? Or do you move along the path, go down the trail, and if the trail ends, you look around and you make your decision based on what's around you because you're moving. You think while you move, and while you're moving, that makes you think. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you think because you're moving. And because you're moving, you're thinking. Because you're not, because like if you stay still, you're just going to analyze your surroundings and not know what the next step is because you can't, because you're not moving.
Right.
But while you're moving, you're seeing like the travel as you go. You're seeing the trail that you're possibly forming. And even though you might not know where the hell you're going, you can look around yourself and make the best decision at that moment. Which sometimes will lead you down bad choices, but it's better than just staying still.
Right. Yeah. Indecision, man. It's a bitch.
Indecision is like it's a poison.
It's really bad. Yeah, man. I don't know what it is though. Like, what is it you think that makes people really just be so indecisive? Because I've struggled with that for so many years. I'm sure that a lot of you guys could relate. It's like there's so many paths you could take, and then what makes it worse is like you knowing that, look, man, like you're gonna be 30 soon. You're gonna be starting a family. I mean, they're dependent, but
by that point, you should like already like be considering in the process of already have a family.
yeah.
Huh. What do you think it is, Pedro? What do you think makes us all like paralyzed? Paralysis should probably be the fourth symptom of like a quarter-life crisis.
I think it's a realization that now you're not at that point where you can just fumble the bag anymore. You can't fumble. It's not fumble the bag. It's fumble the ball. And you know that with each year that comes after 25, it's like more of your decisions have more longer term consequences to them. And so you feel as though that also puts a lot of pressure on you. It's a very unpleasant feeling to know that you're under so much pressure like that. So I think it's that. I think it's also fear that maybe that you're going to make the wrong move and you're going to be left behind, and then you're just going to be nothing. Which then leads me to go on Reddit posts, which is what I've done so many times.
That's
Even
like,
to this day, I still struggle with that shit. I say,
bro, that's like WebMD, but for like psychology.
it's really bad.
Yeah.
Because, guys, like, Reddit has all those forums that whatever you're going through in life, there's always going to be a group of people who are just going to be complaining about it. And so I've been on Reddit, and it's like you hear these stories of like 40-year-old men who are still living at home with their parents, and like how depressed they are, and how like they feel like failures, and it's like it just adds on to it, it adds on to like that existential angst you feel.
you see like how bad it can get, and you're just kind of like, no, not that.
Mm-hmm.
And funny, not funny, funny cosmically, funny in a cosmic sort of way, is that the fear that's causing you to not move is what's going to lead you to become a Redditor. Well, I shouldn't say Redditor, that's offensive to just people. Yeah, no. But to become the kind of person that's a 40-year-old failure in the eyes of society, in the eyes of yourself. Mm-hmm. Because, like, I don't doubt there's always going to be people of very different, like, you know, there's at least one person of any possibility you could think of. But, like, those people that feel like they're losers are, like, stuck in a, like, basement, they're, like, in a prison of the mind. Because, like, I doubt that you've lived 40 years and not developed any kind of interests or talents or, like, interests that can, like, you know, not even just, like, lead you to a career, but just, like, give you some kind of fulfillment, you know? Mm-hmm. Because, like, you know what makes you happy. And I don't just mean, like, momentarily happy, like, dopamine machine happy, like, you know, like your smartphone that makes you happy, the hollow kind of happy. Mm-hmm. You have a sense, like, you can remember when you've been happy in the past, or hopefully you've been happy in the past. Mm-hmm. Where, like, you know, you feel like, oh, that time I helped those people, that really, like, you know, made me feel alive. Or that time I made something with my hands, that really, like, you know, like, it made me feel like I was doing something. Mm-hmm. Oh, that subject when I was in elementary school, when I was studying, like animals, I felt like I was, like, at home with everything. And we kind of just, like, let those things die because, like, we think, that was when I was a kid, or that's kid shit, or I know more now than I did before, and because I feel like I can't do it now, I must be right because I'm older now. You know, we kind of we take being jaded to be like a sign of wisdom a lot of times.
Like cynicism becomes a form of wisdom.
We laud it over things like because you're cynical, you're more wise than the optimist or than the childlike optimist you see.
And do you think that's true?
I think that's totally true. I think that, like, especially, I don't know about you, Pedro, but, like, when I was growing up, it was lame to be happy. I mean, in the sense, it's lame to be an optimist. It's lame to be like that one kid that's just like tries to look at a positive sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to be edgy. Everyone wants to be like, you know, like dark. Music is cool. That's when it's edgy. Like, no one wants to hear like a happy song. Wow. Pop songs make you fucking get bullied at school because of a reason.
It's so
you know?
true. It's so true.
Yeah, you don't like you learn to see, like, at least somehow it gets like taught to you in some capacity in society that, like, the optimist route is just you being naive. And that if you don't live in the absolute crushing weight of, like, modern society on a constant basis, then you're just living in illusion. Damn it!
Yeah.
Being miserable like the rest of us, Pedro. Your dreams. Don't you know what dreams are?
Yeah.
Communist lies.
Yeah, bro. And those are for preschoolers. You know, that's what dreams are.
Dreams means that you're sleeping. You're not waking up on that grind.
You don't understand the harsh realities of the world. Fuck.
Oh. And it's so shitty because we all just kind of give up at that point. Yeah, because it's easier to give up than it is, like, you know, fight not just ourselves to try to make a meaning out of our lives, but fight society's greater, like, the narrative of fuck your optimism. The world is a dark, horrible corporatocracy with politicians that only want you dead and, like, companies only want you dead and only want your money. Like, you know, like, we kind of, like, live in that world, and we do it as a defense mechanism, I think, you know? Because, like, one of the worst feelings you probably remember as a child is, like, when you awaken to certain dark things in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, like, we kind of all developed a defense mechanism that makes us feel like, hey, the world is already disappointing, it can't disappoint you further. But it can, which just tells you that's a bad defense mechanism.
That's all it is. And, you know, I think that at this age, too, that's another element of it. You start to see how difficult it really is to actually achieve the things that you want. Mm-hmm. And how much work you really have to put in.
Dude, I cannot fathom going through 2.5 years of, like, a master's degree and, like, going to, like, a counseling or therapy and think of all the bullshit fucking academic papers I'm going to write through. I've only written, like, 3 academic papers in my bachelor's, and those were, like, traumatic experiences. I can't imagine doing one every week.
Oh, man. Why?
Because it's bullshit. Fucking master's.
You type shit that you know that the professor wants to hear, and that's it.
No, this is how bullshit it is, dude. this massive tangent, but this is how bullshit is, right? I know somebody that's going through a master's degree for something in the field of psychology, and that person has to write a paper. She has to basically write a paper almost every week or every other week for her classes, right? And literally she had you know these papers, they're not just like a persuasive essay like you did in high school. These are full blown. You need 20 citations per paper. It needs to be references to everything. It needs to be structured in such a way. It has to be APA format. All that shit. Yeah, you're just doing that to write a paper, and your citations you put through an auto generator that just generates your citations for you, and you write these yourself. You can literally have a synonym generator where you literally put in your paragraph of something you read and you just want to change the words around. You literally can just put it in a website and just changes it around. And that's just, fine. Just because you know that everything, what you're writing is just so devoid of creativity and so devoid of thought that you literally are just putting together a printed form every single week. Maybe you learn something. Maybe whatever you're reading is interesting to you. But you can't escape the feeling of I came here to and be inspired and learn about the field. And why am I here writing academic papers as if I'm going to the academics?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. That's a really good point, man. But damn, man, it's easier to make fucking papers, bro.
Yeah.
Especially with AI, man, doing all that stuff for you. I mean, come on.
Dude, I hope to God AI kills colleges, man. I hope AI fucking makes it impossible to give a person a proper assignment that's based on that system. I want AI to change society in such a way where college is actually a place where you gotta present a cool idea or talk about something cool, and your professor will have to hear you talk and gather from what you're saying that you're at least interested or understanding the subject,
Yeah.
Because that shit would be cool. It would be dope to bring to class every week something you really read up on and talk about it have that as a session, rather than just here's your 10-page paper that I spent an all-nighter writing up. I hated the whole miserable experience, and you're gonna have a miserable time grading it too because you got 20 others to grade.
Right.
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
Woo. It's a terrible place. Fuck college.
Yeah. But anyways, going back to the combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I've even caught myself. I don't know if you guys can relate, but I've even caught myself just sort of giving up on little things playing basketball. I used to love playing basketball, but I'm what's the point of doing that if I'm not even going to, make it anywhere, professionally in that endeavor, or playing the piano, which by the way I started learning how to play Coldplay, Clocks. Your boy's on it. And it's what's the point of it? That's the thing. I think that you just become more you become a lot more rational as you age, to a fault, because you stop doing things for the sake of doing them, which is what really generates the most joy in your life.
What else I say we, but what else I personally have been doing. I don't know if this is based on the quarter life crisis or if it's just something else. Losing touch with friends.
Yeah.
You don't text people you used to always talk to. You don't call people anymore. Maybe you used to be on the phone 24/7, every day, talking to different people and just having a social life through the phone like that. But now you don't do that anymore. Now you barely talk to people every 3 months, and those are the people you consider your friends. People have a weird problem around this age, and I guess in life generally, with who you are. You kind of have friends, right? But maybe my question if you really are who you are around your friends. Which personality is the real personality? The one when you're alone, or the one when you're around people you care about? And maybe you have different personalities for different groups. Maybe you are interested in certain things and you're keeping up your interest in it because it may help you relate to somebody else, but you're not really into it. You just have that thing between
Yeah.
And sometimes you have this feeling of just wanting to cut ties with everybody you ever know, become a hermit, or just move somewhere else and just restart. Not even because you hate the people around you, or because you just want to disappear forever, but just because you have that sense of whatever experiment is this personality, this person, this life that I'm living is a failure. So I just want to reset. not reset as in like, you know, game at yourself, don't game at yourself, but I mean like, yeah, like, you know, just resetting the connections you have, resetting like the interests you have, resetting where you live, you know, fucking disappearing, going back, like trying again.
Yeah.
Then that thought passes you, and you just kind of continue in your routines.
Yeah.
And the routines slowly just like make the time pass by, and when the time passes by, you're not thinking about what's making you anxious, and that's good. Until like later on, you realize that so much time has passed by while you haven't thought about what was bothering you. So now you're even more worried about it, that you need to spend more time doing the things in your routine.
Yeah.
And then your routine might become simpler. You might give up on working out. You might give up on simple hygiene. Maybe you brush twice a day. Maybe only brush once a night. Maybe you just watch the same shows, or like you are in that weird death loop of just being on your phone, scrolling Instagram for 2 hours, turning on the PlayStation, playing a game for 5 minutes, pausing it, going on your phone, got another 2 hours of fucking death scrolling, and then you go to sleep, and then wake up, and then you got shit to do, and that shit helps you not think about it. And then set up routines.
I just think that what you just said was the deepest shit I've ever heard. Do you know friends who are going through this right now? Do you ever have like conversations with anyone?
I should have conversations like this with people around me. I feel like I was experiencing the same thing. But it's hard to have these conversations with people around you, especially like people that know you, people that like, you know, like family members. Because like, how do you let somebody in the eye that you've known your entire life and say that I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know where I'm going to go, and you just feel like a failure in front of their eyes. Meanwhile, they haven't said anything to you. Meanwhile, they're just as scared as you are. They just want you to figure out what it is. They don't care if you have it right now. But in your mind, in your soul, you just feel like you failed them just by them asking you. Yeah. So you avoid talking about it, and then you don't open up to people about it, and then like you kind of like just recede into your own little like routine, and you don't really think about it until it becomes probably you turn 30.
So that you think that the key to that is like opening up to like a therapist or just talk about to someone, just being vocal about it.
Yeah, not even just because you don't got to talk to people. You could literally just talk to your dog if you wanted to. The point is you got to hear what you're saying, because up until now I didn't have the balls, or not even the balls, just like only until recently I was able to overcome the internal shame I felt when it came to that question. My brother asked me that, like my older brother asked me that earlier this week, and I told him the field of psychology isn't really drawing me in like I thought it would. Like, you know, I'm not really feeling that like activation in the brain about the subject. I like helping people. I like that aspect. I like talking to people about their problems. That's the part I really like. But I currently am not doing that, and I feel like to have that as a career, I feel like there's so much bullshit in the field itself that just kind of like drags out my experience from me, and I feel like I would just be miserable in that place. So the second thing I can really think about is like I like to make things with my hands. I like to build little model kits. I like to paint. I like to draw. I like to like cut things and make things and shape them like an artisan. Like, you know, people just making shit with their hands. So that's kind of where I am now. And the fact that I was able to tell my brother that I know the thing that I studied for isn't really like giving me that like pull and it making me scared to like go into it further. But what's giving me that pull right now, that activates that monkey brain in my head that tells me I could do this literally forever.
Yeah.
Is shit with my hands. That I feel that, and that's a stage that I wouldn't have gone to if I hadn't said it out loud. Because I could literally just be pondering in my head and just like, you know, in your head, the negative voices are way louder than like any other possibility.
Really?
Because in my head, when I think about, before I said that, but when I thought about like psych field or go figure out what to do if I could get a career with something to do with my hands, right? In the mind that I have, it's kind of like two ships on a big stormy ocean on the surface of it, right? The thought of like pursuing a career involving my hands is like a dinghy, a little paper boat at that point, right? Just floating on the surface, like barely an idea, not really much mass to it, not really much thought into it, you know. And then there's this cargo ship with a lot of baggage that is the course of action I thought I was going to take going through college and getting into debt and like, you know, like saying I was going to do this and like, you know, making that my career. and also my routine on top of that, right? This is the kind of the status quo. In my mind, when these two ships fight to be like to be in my forethoughts, the big cargo ship is really just going to wash the other ship out of the water, because it's kind of like in your own head you kind of like minimize thoughts that you just recently have about like the shit you want to do with like all the baggage of like, come on, you know that's not going to work out. Come on, you know like you got to do what you got to do to make money. You got to like do what you know is right to do, and not right by you. Do what's right by like what you think society wants of you, or what people want of you. And that washes over the other boat. And like, if I just didn't say anything, if I didn't put it out into words and have somebody else hear me, that's just where it would stay. But now that I said it, words are just words. Those words now take up equal space in the air. And now I can actually see what I'm saying. And now it doesn't sound so great to do something arsenic. In fact, we live in a world now, like for example, like we're recording a podcast literally off the phone. People can find a way, I can find a way to maybe do something with that. Make a page, make stuff that I enjoy doing, get a following, or take commissions. I just gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out, and I also gotta stop telling myself that it's just gonna be too much work to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's really that sort of inner inertia that you feel, like that resistance.
Inertia. Damn it, bro. You're right.
Yeah,
yes.
that inner. It's like I don't know, man. Like life is like it's like. Why does that we know what it is that we have to do to improve our lives? It's like the blueprints are not complicated. They're simple, but we just can't make ourselves do it.
Inertia is literally the best word you can pick, bro. You know why? In physics, it's a concept where if a thing has more mass, adds more inertia. And like, heavier thing moves fast, harder to stop heavy thing, right? But it also applies to something standing still. I can't move this countertop with my hands by, it's nailed down to the ground. But if it wasn't nailed down, and it was like a 400 pound countertop, because it's 400 pounds, it's hard for me. I need to put a lot of energy into it to get it to move that inertia, other than it's staying still. When we stay in routines, we build a lot of inertia that way. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a good. What you said was a good word. Yeah, because if we stay at rest for a long time, the longer we stay at rest, especially in a quarter-life crisis, and more time passes, the more we feel that like inertia building up into standing still. And no matter, like, it feels like nothing can push it out. But we gotta, like, cumulatively, like, push it bit by bit, like I said, 1% at a time.
Bit by bit, right.
Yeah. You don't grind away at the boulder, one hammer struck at it. You don't break it all at once. You gotta, chip at it, bit at a time.
And here's the thing that I've realized is that it's like, going back to what Jordan Peterson said, it's like, focus on making the 1% improvements every day. He's mentioned that he's had 40-year-old, what you would call like losers, completely change their lives around within like 2 to 3 years using that technique. And it shows you that, I think that by just like applying yourself every single day, just focusing on one, like at least spending time, like at least 30 minutes a day for like learning about a new career path.
Not even, fuck that. Not you, you're saying that, sorry, I just mean the vibe is fine.
Like, damn, bro! Damn, I think.
Yeah, fuck that. Not 30 minutes. Anything, any moment, a second. Just do something.
Yeah, just do something.
Literally, don't think about the time. Just think about the action. Just do the thing. It doesn't matter if you do the thing. Do one push-up. Not even a push-up. Make the attempt to do a push-up, and that's good enough.
Seriously, man. Like in my own personal experience, man, as of late, I haven't been going to the gym, man. I've been feeling a little more sluggish. I just said, you know what? The next time I go to the gym, I'm just going to do like 2 sets of push-ups. And I'm going to walk out. But at least I'll say, I went to the gym. Next workout was a lot better. I did a lot more. Following workout, I did a lot more, and I feel a lot better.
It's like, weirdly enough, a lot of like physics-based things also work out mentally in a weird way. Like at least like it's a weird poetry kind of way. Mm-hmm. Like the whole thing with inertia. But like that too, like I think I saw a clip of Joe Rogan podcast where there was like this like a guy who was like a in the circuit of like Russian fighters and stuff like that, and he talks about how like these guys train. They don't train like Americans do, where you pick 3 days out of your week where you just bust your ass and then you spend 2 days recovering to then bust your ass again, right? Mm-hmm. Instead they don't push themselves literally to the limit. Instead, like do a good workout. Not crazy, not enough to make themselves sore to then do it tomorrow for a short amount of time, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And the way he explained it was like genius, because he's like, let's say you do the American style, right? Let's say you do 30 push-ups every like visit, right? And that's like your thing. 30 minutes here, then you take 2 days rest. 30 push-ups here, take a rest. 30 push-ups here, take a rest. 30 push-ups here, right? You did 90 push-ups at the end of the week. But like now, take the Russian step, right? Instead of doing 30, you do 15 every day. Just enough to where it's like you exercise your muscles, but not enough to where it passes 20 push-ups where like, your muscles starts like, get sore for the next day. So you do 15 one day, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day. You, by doing that, I'm sorry, I said, if you do 30, okay, you got 90 like on that week, right? You got 115 at the end by doing the Russian method. Because you worked out every day, bit by bit, incrementally, and at the end of the day you did more, and then the week, more push-ups were done than it was the American one, right? The American one busted their ass and got 90 push-ups. The Russian one got 105. They had that extra 15 they put in because they didn't kill themselves every single day. It's gotta be like that. It's gotta be like increment. It gotta be like just make that part of the routine.
Yeah. Spectacular, man. So you're saying that there's hope for people out there?
There's always hope. Hope is one of those things that's kind of like, hope is one of those things that's always present if you choose to look at it. It's like a boost. It haunts you. It haunts you.
Yeah.
The hope haunts
The hope haunts you.
you. No, but like, hope is always there. We just, a lot of times it's hard to see it when we hold all the bullshit in front of us. But there is always hope. If you're that 40-year-old guy in the basement, like, in describing that Reddit post, you can still do something. Life's not over for you. Even if you got 20 years, that's still a whole lifetime. You still got shit you can do. You're not what you are today forever. You are what you are today, and tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. And whatever you choose to do now that changes whatever goes on to tomorrow, it builds up. And if you're not doing anything right now, tomorrow can still be that you do something. But you gotta like not treat it like you're climbing something. You're not climbing a mountain every day, you're climbing up 3 steps of stairs every day. That's how you get up the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that for some people out there, they may feel like, man, I'm out of weight, or I'm not making the money I should be making.
I'm in debt.
What can I do? And it's such a high mountain to climb, and they're like, fuck it, man. You're just chilling at the summit, and you're just looking up, you're like, that's too much. And just pack it up and just go.
I'm thinking that maybe if life is about climbing a mountain and just staring at the next peak just makes you lose all motivation to move, right? Would a blind climber do a better job?
A blind climber?
A blind climber. Some guy that's blind and climbs and does the hill, does the hike, climbs shit, and he literally cannot see the next mountain. He just knows they gotta keep climbing. That guy probably will do better in the long run than the guy that could see.
Sometimes seeing is a curse.
Yeah. Like they say, seeing is believing. And in a way, if you see failure all everywhere, you're always going to believe it.
You believe it, yeah.
Your eyes can lie to you too. Your eyes can tell you that you're a failure because you look in the mirror and you think failure. But literally, there's like so much you could just like consciously just choose to see another way. And even if you feel silly at the moment, just seeing that another way can like really like change the whole picture in your arm.
Yeah. Oh man, that's powerful, bro. Thank you for sharing that, dude. I'm about to cry, man. I would get a napkin, but I don't have any right now. We have to use a piece of paper or something.
That struggle when you're in school and you got sneeze and the only thing you got is like a notebook paper.
Oh man. Alright, bro. Well, I think that. How many minutes we got? 45?
Yeah, I got 44 minutes, 50 seconds.
I think that's pretty good for the end of our show. I think that was Very powerful message today. Thanks to Isaiah's freaking genius, man. Genius. With that being said, we'll be launching another episode next week. And we'll keep you guys posted on what's to come. All right. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Peace.